Well, I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 17 years old. I was a junior in high school, and I didn't know anything about it. And Mom, I think she did. I was having troubles breathing, and everything was shutting down on me, and I just didn't know it. And Mom took me into the urgent care, and she kind of, it was after hours, and they did an examination on me, and they're like, well, we think you have pneumonia. So I was like, okay, well, I've had pneumonia before, we can fix this. So I was in the x-ray room, and the tech came back in. He was like, we need to talk to you. I was like, okay. So I come back out, and everybody is scrambling. It's like a tornado, and it's all my mom's friends, we're like family. And we've got people on the phone going, call CT, this and that, get it scheduled. I'm like, what's going on? They hold up my x-ray to the light, and it looks like I have two hearts. And I look over at my mom, and I'm like, what is that? And she just didn't want to say anything. She didn't know. She didn't want to scare me. So, of course, we have our awesome team on, and they start getting me to scan, right away. And we find out that there's something there, and Mom once again was just trying to comfort me, and she took me everywhere. She took me at scans, blood tests, this and that, and it was just amazing on how fast everybody reacted to this, especially Mom. She was there. I just didn't know, and it was just the case of I just don't know that scared me. I heard that it could be a fungal infection. I heard all kinds of rumors. And then I heard maybe it could be a mass that was small. I was like, all right, well, what do we do there? And so we had to do a biopsy. And I remember doing a needle biopsy. And, they told me to look away. And of course, the kid that I am, I'm like, okay. And I see this needle that's like that. I'm like, oh my God. So they numb up my back, and I'm like, oh my God, no, no. So I'm starting to grab on these posts in the bottom of the bed, or the table. And so they push on it, and it just feels like a bunch of pressure. And then all of a sudden I can start feeling this tearing. And they're like, oh, we got through the first layer. And then, I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to like squeeze so hard. I'm trying to be so brave. And then I look over at Mom, and I'm crying. And they got in, and they're like, oh, we're in. And it just, I felt like I was in pain. And I looked over at Mom, and she was sitting there crying. She didn't want her boy hurt. And so, I was a bit scared, but just having her there, just that comfort just helped me through it. And from there, after the needle biopsy, we had to wait so long to find out the results. And, they did test after test after test, and it was kind of like, what's the deal? Finally, we heard the word that I do have cancer. We're like, okay, what kind? We don't know that yet. We have to do a biopsy. We need more samples. We're like, all right. So we have to do a real biopsy now. And so we did the real biopsy, and I still remember waking up, and it was so scary for me. I was in the ICU, and it was dark. I had no idea where I was at. My oxygen mask was on my face like this. I had every tube imaginable inside of me. I had a chest tube, I had lines coming out of my neck, my arms. And sure enough, there was Mom over there to comfort me. I was crying. I was like, where am I at? Oh my God, what happened? And there she was. Okay, we're here. I'm with you. I was like, okay, all right. All right. So, we got through that. And, she started to rehab me, which was cool, I was starting to get stronger, and I felt good. But then we found out that I have this rare form of bone cancer that they found in my lung. So it's kind of like, how do you have a bone cancer in your lung? So, You know, my team of McEnany and Dr. Chandran and my mom, all-star team, man. You can't beat that. And so they got on it right away. They just hopped on it. And they did so much research to find out what's going on. They found out the protocol for the medication. And once again, when I went in the day after Mother's Day for my first treatment of chemo. And thank God I got to spend Mother's Day with my mom without chemo inside of me. We went to a Dukes game, and I have a picture of that still. And that is in my room right now, and it's one of my most prized pictures ever. I love that picture, because it was the last picture I knew completely healthy with my mom. So we went in for chemo, and they gave us every, ounce of information that they could. Alright, so Diane was my second mommy when Mom wasn't there, and they took real good care of me, and we started to bond when Mom wasn't there. I would go in for, chemo treatments. I had 7 treatments altogether of chemo, but I would go in a week at a time. And they told me that, I was learning the whole time about my immune system just dropping, and then they'd have to build it back up, and then I'd drop again, and I'd be so sick. And, it was a learning experience all the time. And that's another thing, like the nurses and my mom and the doctors were just so good to me. I was like, God, I love this field. I love healthcare. I love it. Like, my mom is just, she's rich because of this stuff. Like, you have a person come in, and they're sick as can be. They hurt more when you get in there, but then you fix them, and they start going this way, and they're fine. When they walk out, and they go play again. How awesome is that? And my mom taught me that. I was scared, everybody thought I was the bravest thing ever. I was scared. But I had my mommy by my side, so that made me feel better. So we did 3 treatments of chemo, we shrunk it, and we found out that the chemo was working. So we got all excited. And then we had to do surgery, which scared the absolute hell out of me.